What's good with it, y'all? It's your boy Santo G. Back at it, you already know, spreading unity, prosperity, and respect. Above all, if you're new here, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell. That way you're notified when I drop future content. So today, I wanted to take it back to me catching my violation and being in the county. Because when I first hit the county for the violation for the high-speed chase, I ended up hitting the trusty dorm. And just because I look the way I do, all tatted up, and because they knew that I was somebody that had just got out from doing a long term and then got out, came back in, they were on your boy. So I landed in the trusty dorm because my points weren't that high to begin with. This was before I had got sentenced and then my points kicked in. So I ended up hitting the 500s. And shout out to my boy Daffy from Tepa. He could vouch for this story right here. I wasn't even there one full night, man. So I end up hitting the trusty dorm. I end up getting busted. I go through the whole process, the whole R&R, intake, going through fish roll, all that. So my first night ever in the county, I'm with the homie Stalker from the hood. Shout out the homie Stalker. That's another person that could verify everything, you know what I mean? I was with the homie Stalker from the hood. I was with Beam from Venice, and there was another resident from Inglewood as well. I actually ended up getting them all barred out. I ended up going in with a gang of Xanax. So boom, I'm with them for one night. The next morning, wake me up like, hey, you gotta go. I end up looking out for my boy, for the homie Stalker from the hood. I shoot him a couple of pills like, hey, here you go, my G. It was good meeting you. Let's go. Cause throughout all my whole term of doing the 10 years, the homie ended up getting put on and catching the term and all that. So we never met each other on the street. It took me going to county jail and meeting him in county jail and running into each other there to be like, oh, what's up? You know what I mean? Type shit. But he was the homie from the hood, so I blessed him. So boom, they end up moving me to the trusty dorm. And as soon as I hit the trusty dorm, I see that fool Daffy from Tepa. And the reason I know him is because when I first got out from doing the 10 years, I caught him slipping in the neighborhood. It was him and another homie that were waiting at a light. And I was getting some food at Astro Burgers. So next thing you know, I'm waiting for my food, and by the time I see they're gone. So I go and I pick up the homie G, and on the way to where we were going, I see him walking, and I pulled up on him like what's up, homie? You know where you at? Woo, woo. This was back then when I had just got out. I was still out there running around being stupid. That's why I only lasted 2 months when I caught that high-speed chase, you know what I mean? So in between that time, I run into him and ended up banging on him and all that, but everything was good. So fast forward, I hit the trusty dorm and he's right there. As soon as I walk in, he sees me. He's like, hey, that was you with that Chrysler 300, huh, on Dubs? Like, yeah, that was me. He's like, hey, I'm not gonna lie, bro, I was mad. I was mad. I was walking with my girl, and then you walk up on me, like, you roll up on me and shit, like that. He's like, I'm not gonna lie, I was mad, but hey, it comes with the territory. I was in your hood, you know? So, boom, we end up going to work. We ended up working, washing it was the trusty dorm, because right there was all the workers that go to the dish pit, that wash all the trays and all that. So before we even go to work at night, because we would wash the dinner trays, so before we would go to work, they started having like a whole little get together right there. They were barely establishing things. They had got out a couple of paisas and told them like, hey, you guys are gonna have to start kicking in, you know what I mean? Like, as far as for the kitty, they were taxing them, you know what I mean? Well, as it should be. Everywhere in the county is like that. But I guess because it was a trusty dorm, there wasn't really nobody there like with the mentality to do stuff like that till a couple of homies had landed there. But it was all them. I was just there like just as an intimidation factor. I didn't even say nothing. I just backed up the homie when he went to go handle that situation. I had just got there. I wasn't even there an hour. and that whole situation's taking place, but I know Daffy, that was Daffy's boy, so I like just backed him up. It was us three. Tell me why. We go to work that night. Next thing you know, not even halfway through our shift, they call my name. Like, hey, get your stuff. And then I end up going. They're like, hey, you're getting moved. I end up going to the 900s. I end up going to the 900s. They got like sales. It's like the shoe. So I end up going to the 900 overflow shoe. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what am I doing here? End up come find out, them paisas that they were trying to tax ended up telling. But when they told, they looked on the camera, and I was the most like person that looked like if I was the one to call shots and stuff like that. I was the one that looked the part, and I had just got there, and they happened to do it a couple of hours after I get there. It ended up getting me in a whole ass mix. They ended up sending me to the 900s, and then from there they ended up kicking me out to 613. That's when I ended up landing there with a couple of homies from Florence. Shout out the homies from Florence that were right there with me. And that's one of the little homies that when he first got busted, he ended up in a cell with somebody and talking about his case, and it ended up being an informant. So anytime he would like talk about anything and stuff like that, he would write it down and rip up the paper. Like anything important, he would no longer talk about it. He would write it down. Afterwards, he would rip up the paper because of the inmate CIs. That's why whenever I talk about that, about you guys getting busted and not talking about your case with nobody, and I mean nobody, that's why I say this, because man, that's fucked up. The little homie from Florence, they didn't have nothing on them, and I mean nothing. All they had was speculation, but because of whatever he disclosed to that person, now my boy had a straight life pending case, straight murder case on top of him, you know what I mean? So y'all be careful. But yeah, they ended up kicking me right there to the 613. I was right there with the little homie for a little bit. I ended up helping out one of the little homies. He ended up getting himself into a little debt. Some little Jainita was supposed to pay it for him. She didn't end up coming through. So I remember he wrote to me like, hey G, he was in the dorm next door. He's like, hey G, like, I know you just got out from doing 10. Look, I'm in this situation. Like, I know you've been in a situation like this before, so can you help me? And I remember it was me and the homie, the older homie Pelon. Shout out the homie Pelon. He said he stayed over there on the Arborvitae side, over there by Maple, behind the Frosted Freeze. So you know who you are, my boy Pelon. He actually ended up taking care of that and paying that debt for the homie so he could be cleared. You know what I mean? I don't want to say the homie's name, but you know who you are. But that's another little story of me being in the county, hitting the trustee dorm, and then them sending me to the 900s under investigation because they thought that I was taxing the paisas, that I was taxing everyone, trying to establish a kitty. You know what I mean? So y'all be careful. It's your boy Santo G, real, raw, uncut. Shout out Killer Kush. If you guys want some of that bombs out, you guys want to go into the dispensary, check them out. Their IG is Killer Kush __420. Or if you guys want a top of the line pup, get at my good people at Frenchie Row Kennels on Instagram. That's Frenchie _row_kennels. If you guys want some bombs out delivered to you, get at my good people at Cali Herbs Los Angeles. That's Cali Herbs Official on IG. Or if you want it delivered by yours truly, get at me on Instagram as well. I'm gonna go ahead and put my business card right there. I appreciate you guys, man. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the drawing board and see what other good stories I'm able to draw up for you guys, man. Unity, prosperity, and respect. Above all, let's get it, y'all. Sky's the limit.